political and military elites are above the law due to the National Security Act of 1947 that allows people in government to claim national security exceptions and cover up criminal wrongdoing. Judges accept the claim of national security, which amounts to the argument, trust us or our enemies will learn our secrets. Why is it that the last time anyone said anything bad about an American general, it was Benedict Arnold? Wearing the uniform of the United States or any other country does not mean that men stop being human and thus imperfect. The power to kill anyone, anywhere, is an absolute power that corrupts absolutely. The NSA Act was first invoked in court in 1953 when a B-29 crash killed civilians aboard and their widows sued the government. The Department of Defense claimed national security and the court records were sealed. Recently, the records were unsealed and there were no national security secrets to protect, only criminal negligence by the government. This was the first time that the NSA Act was used in court, and the pattern has repeated itself to allow the DoD and others to avoid criminal penalties. It is the perfect get-out-of-jail-free card. Benedict Arnold was the most infamous traitor in U.S. history and is perhaps the only general viewed as one who was a threat to our republic. He sold information to the British and could have cost America the war and thus its very existence. Many of the founding fathers considered a professional officer corps and a standing army as a threat to our republic. The U.S. did not maintain a large standing army until after World War II. Thomas Jefferson established West Point to train an officer corps and enshrine the concept of loyalty to the Constitution and civilian rule before his political enemies could do otherwise. General James Wilkinson fought in the Revolutionary War and became head of the Army in 1805. After he died, it became known that he sold information to the Spanish Empire about U.S. plans and forces. The head of the U.S. Army had become a foreign spy. General Wilkinson had conspired with Aaron Burr to take over Mexico and the world's richest silver mines, and the two later conspired to set up their own empire within disputed territories in a kind of kingdom in no man's land. George Washington is revered because, unlike other men, he declined power for himself, and this set him apart from the normal characteristic of men to grasp for power and more power. Benedict Arnold, Aaron Burr, and General James Wilkinson represent the norm in human behavior. Modern weapons and surveillance technology now make it possible for a few well-placed men to exert incredible power over the life of the nation. The motivation to suppress domestic dissidents and to assassinate loyal American opposition stems from the perception of dissent against the Vietnam War as treason. This philosophy is stated very clearly in the Mind War paper written by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino of Army Intelligence. The claim of sabotage by domestic enemies as a reason for losing the war was once a borderline view, but has now become the premier narrative of the neocons. This claim of betrayal by domestic enemies is the exact same claim made by the German army after their loss in World War I. German conservatives and military leaders began to criticize socialists, communists, and Jews who, quote, stabbed them in the back on the home front. U.S. military intelligence officers and others with hard right-wing ideologies have followed the well-worn path of blaming their political opponents with actions tantamount to treason and using that as an excuse to eliminate them. These charges of torture and murder are the most serious accusations ever made against U.S. government employees and are not made lightly.